What's going on, fellers? Dave here again. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about digital racing solutions, lane gate collision prevention. This is not a sponsored video. I've had my track for over 10 years. I've never installed these. Never really saw a need for it up until the last couple of years. What it does is it prevents anyone from changing a lane if there's a car next to it. This is very, very beneficial if you have a lot of cars on the track and you're racing, or Carrera's ghost cars or autonomous cars. They change lanes randomly, so they could run into each other, and they do often. Or if you have grandkids, and yes, I'm talking about Trevor and Nolan, who think it's very cool to change lanes and crash into each other and knock the other one off the track. So this will prevent that. So what we're going to do, I'm not going to show you the installation. I'm going to give you the basics of what it excuse me, what it takes to install it. But I'm going to show you right here what it is that what it's going to operate like. Okay, if you see this little green light in the track, that's telling you that it's in operation. So what's going to happen is the car is going to be pulling up, and it's going to want to change lanes. But when this car pulls up, hits the detection zone, that light goes off, which disables the lane change function. So this car cannot change lanes. We'll get into the detection zone at the end. Once it's gone, that green light comes back on and the car is free to change lanes. So we'll come back over here. Turn this off. So what you get in the package is a little chip, and I was very pleased to see, because I'm not very keen on electronics. There's the 5 wires, and that shows me right there that this is a straight plug-in for these wires. So the only thing that left me with was these two to figure out. Now the instructions you get are very clear and very concise. There's about 5-6 pages. They do not come with any instructions. The instructions are easily downloadable or viewed either from Digital Racing Solutions website itself, or I just happen to buy this from Carrera slots, and the instructions are right there on their website. So if you're good with your phone and you can look at your phone, you don't have to download anything. But I happen to like very big pictures so I can see. So what you've got basically let me before I get into that, let me show you this. This is your lane change. This is the entrance where the flipper is, and this is the exit. So let me disconnect this. So on the exit piece, the only thing you have to do, you remove your 9 or 10 screws, whatever you happen to have. This little red jumper wire in here. All you're going to do, that is this piece right here. You're just going to disconnect this, pull the jumper wire out totally, and put your cover back on, screw it down, and you are done with this piece. Get that back on there. Now the entrance, get this out of the way. The entrance, you remove your cover. By the way, once you remove this cover, there's a little screw underneath the tab here. Once you remove that screw and break this here, it voids any warranty that you have. So if you're worried about warranties, then I wouldn't do this. So this is what it looks like when you take the cover off. And all you have to do is the picture that they give you, you make sure the orientation of the track is the same way as the picture. And as you're showing here, the sensor's right up at the top, and you've got your 4 lanes, or your 4 rails. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is just following along there. Now this tells you on the chip that they give you which one's going to where. Now if you can see, there's an A, B, C, D, and E on there. They tell you do not worry about the color of the wires because maybe in production they change different colors or whatever. The key importance here is the lettering on the chip itself, and that's where you're going to connect to these. So if you can see on here, it tells you the 5 wires and where they're connected. I'm going to skip A for right now because I'll do that at the end. So if we look at B, it's going to go to rail 1. So if we take B on here, which is going to be the brown wire, separate that. B wire goes to rail number 1. Rail number 1 is this very first one. So as you're going to do anywhere in here, these insert right into the slots in the track. I'm not going to push it in because, well, actually I did. And it just sits in there. That's all there is to that. You follow along with the wires and these other 2 plugs. It'll tell you. Now that's going to leave you with these 2 wires once these are plugged in. The only modification you have to make to this board itself is this yellow sensor wire. This is for your sensor. You're going to cut that right in the middle part. Obviously you're going to have 2 halves now. So the A is the yellow wire on P1 on the factory board. So the factory board is this. So where you snip this, the A, which is, which color? It's the purple wire. So assuming this is in 2 halves, that's going to go to the board. The other half, the green wire, is going to go to the other side and going right to the sensor. So those are the only connections that are to be made here. Let's get this out of here. Okay. So those are the only connections that are going to be made here. And you are all done with this. Now, what you want to do before you put this all back together on this here, put your lane changer back together. Okay, so you've got your lane changer. You're going to need 1 extra piece of track. It can be any piece of track. You have to put a piece of track here on the entrance to the lane changer. Don't connect anything at this end. So what you're going to do is you're going to plug the exit back into your track, leaving this piece not connected to your track. And once you plug it in, your green light, oh I'm sorry, I skipped a step. What you have to do with the chip, if you can, you might be able to see, it's kind of faded out. They tell you to drill a hole right in the center of the second line. It's a 7/64 hole. It's not big enough to allow the sensor, or the LED, I'm sorry, to go through. I'm assuming they don't want it sticking up above the track, but it's enough to where you'll be able to see the LED once it's lit. So once you get your hole drilled, I use hot glue. I guess they said you can use tape too. You just put your LED on the hole and hot glue it. What I did was I just put a dab of hot glue on the connector and just held it right over the hole till it was dry. And that's all there was to that. Okay, so we're back to here. So you've got your LED showing here. You've got an extra piece. Like I said, it can be anything. It could be a curve, whatever you happen to have. Leave that disconnected. You're connecting these back up. So once you plug it in, now we can go back. So once you plug it in, that green light should be on. It's not on. I don't have the track on. That green light will be on. If it's not on, you've got one of your connections wrong, and then just double check it. So by leaving the track disconnected, you're creating what they're calling a detection zone. So with the track not connected at the right end of the track, now we're back to this again. Let me turn it back on. Now we're back to this again. Let's assume this is disconnected right here, just for the sake of argument. So the green light's on, the car's coming up, it's good. Now with this disconnected, all you have to do is set the car on the opposite lane, and that'll go off. So anything from this track forward is gonna cut the power. So you can see it's off. Taking it before. Well, I'm not very good left-handed. It's on. So that's what they're calling the detection zone, and that's telling it where it can't change lanes. So that's it in a nutshell. Like I said, I was a little leery doing this. Number one, my track is all finished, scenic, ripping it up. All my lane changers is not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. If you've ever had any questions about, or I shouldn't say questions, if you ever had any problems with ghost cars running into each other, this is going to take care of all those problems. You should not have a collision anymore on lane changers. I'm not looking forward to ripping up the rest of mine, seeing as how what happened over here with mine. But it's something I'm going to do, and it's something I shouldn't have to touch again once it's done. So, like I said, it's not a total install, but it just to show you, basically, it is very easy to do, and I recommend the product highly. And that's it.